when we think about the scientific process in Western science, um, we are like that's just one of multiple ways of knowing. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about this landscape. And, one of the things that I get to do in my job a lot is run field trips for various courses in conjunction with the geologists that we have here at CCC. And so we often take students out to Grand Canyon and other places, but one of the stops that we make along the way is as we're north of Flagstaff, just before we get to Cameron, there's this place where we can stop, pull off 89, and look back south toward Flagstaff and have a look at the San Francisco peaks. Okay, and what Dr. Webb, our geologist, sees when they look at this landscape is they see the cinder cones over here. We see the inner basin. So if you kind of follow the slopes of the peaks and kind of with in your imagination, continue those lines. That's how high our peaks once were. There was a volcanic eruption and then erosion that created this inner basin. And so when they look at this, right, that's the landscape that they're seeing, right, as these long-term geological processes that have given us this skyline. Okay, when I, as a trained ecologist, look at this, what I see is all these different ecosystems, right? So we know that the life zone concept developed by C. Hart Marion was developed right here on our peaks. And so he describes the grasslands, right? And then we can look across over here a little bit higher up in elevation. We see the pinyons and the junipers. And then as we start to drive back up toward Flagstaff, we start to get higher in elevation. We start to see the ponderosas come in. And we know as if we keep going up to Snowball, we're going to get into the mixed conifers. If we get out and hike our butts up, then we're going to get into the spruces. And then maybe even above the tree line, right? And so we're going to see all of these different ecosystem types along this elevation gradient. And that's what I tend to see when I look out across this landscape. But if you are a traditional Dene person, what you might see when you look out at this landscape is the changing woman. And so this is one of the deity of the Navajo people. And in this case, what's happening here is that the changing woman is lying down on her back. You can see her long hair stretched out behind her. Here's her face. She's got her eyes, her nose, her mouth, her chin. And then she's laying on her back. You could see her breasts here, and then her hands resting on her pregnant belly, and then with her feet stretched out on the other side. So, and when we look out at this landscape, right, there's all these different ways to interpret and to think about what this landscape is and what it means, and which one is correct, right? All of these are correct ways to interpret the same landscape, right? There's knowledge to be had about the geological processes that have shaped these mountains. There's information to be had about what is causing these ecosystem changes. And there's wisdom and knowledge to be had in these narratives and these stories and these belief systems about the landscape and how that links your relationship to the landscape as an individual, which I think is really cool.